this is Amy Allen from the Dead Files, and you're listening to the Alternate Route Podcast.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, ponderers of the paranormal. You have found the Paranormally Zone, your place for all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Koffenberg. I am responsible for the supernatural shenanigans, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, a man with more needle points shoved into his spine that you would care to shake a stick at. My friend and yours, Mr. Mike Carbonell. How you doing, Mike? It looks like you're holding back. It looks like you're holding your breath for some reason.
No.
Oh. Okay. What was that? Pardon Mike there, boys and girls. That was interesting. I don't know what happened right there.
I choked on the needle thing.
Okay. Man, are you okay? Are you
I am now. Yeah.
good? Are you good to go for a podcast?
I swallowed my tea wrong.
Oh. Should we start over or should I leave that?
No, just leave that.
Leave that? Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right. He's like, quit doing so many damn takes, Patrick. I gotta go to bed. That's what Mike's saying. So, but yeah, we're not going to dive into Mike's health issues because we seem to do that every episode. But yeah, he got shot up 8 times in his back today with the nice long pointy needles.
Yes, 8 shots in my back today.
Fun times.
Wasn't fun.
Fun, good times. So, well, I'm glad you could scrounge up the energy and the interest. I guess
interest.
He's already giggling at me. I'm glad you found the time, Mike, and you're putting forth the effort to get out another darn near perfect episode of paranormal, whatever the hell you want to call it, panderings.
Depends on what standard of perfect we are striving for.
The lowest of the low. Lowest of the low. Not even close to being perfect. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. If you are new to the program, we talk about all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious, and we have a good time doing it. And we usually bring up some pretty wacky, crazy, alleged occurrences that have happened throughout the ages in this crazy earth that we all live on and share, and tonight is no exception.
Definitely no exception here on this one.
So much so that before we started recording, Mike himself even was darn near smirking when we were discussing this topic. And if you are new to this program, that's a doozy, because Mike is the one who is so open-minded to all wacky and wild things, and even he was snickering at this one. So I don't know, maybe what does that mean, Mike? Is it going to be a great episode?
It's going to be a great episode. It's just there's a lot of interesting points in this occurrence, alleged occurrence.
Yeah,
but like I had said, I'm not sure. I may have seen this in an episode of like Scooby-Doo or something at one time or another.
So you were serious? You were serious when you said that?
No, I wasn't serious. You know me.
Well, this occurred in September of 1964. When did the Scooby-Doo cartoon series air?
It started in the late 60s, I believe.
Oh, so if you
I remember watching it from its beginning.
Okay. Well, we can't bring up a question like that without answering
without looking it up. I think it was like 1969 or something like that. 68, 69.
Okay. And of course, my Google app is now just frozen on the word Google right now because that's just what happens when you need an answer right away when you're recording a podcast.
Well.
Oh, there it went. Okay, hold on. Because this is the important paranormal stuff here. Well, I guess Scooby-Doo has some paranormal.
Oh, absolutely.
Scooby-Doo cartoon series debut. And we're waiting with a drum roll. Wow, Mike, 1969.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Very good.
September 13th, 1969.
So if you saw this, it would have been based on the occurrence, not vice versa. So there you go.
Right.
That's
very true.
Well, if you haven't figured it out already, and chances are you haven't, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. We're talking about what has become known as the CISCO GROVE Incident. Crazy, bizarre, alleged alien encounter, encountering aliens, plural, in the forest of California, CISCO GROVE, Placer County, California. Yeah, that's what we're going to be diving into as the main meat of the episode. And then we're going to take some time traveling excursions, one or two, finish it up, wrap up the episode with our one last take segment, Mike. Quickly becoming a fan favorite segment of the podcast where we just throw out some crazy alleged, I don't know what you want to call them. Anything bizarre and crazy and weird, and we basically we answer yes or no whether we buy it or we don't, and that's
yay or nay.
Yay or nay. That's kind of tough for both of us because half of these were literally straddling the proverbial fence. So you know, I don't know.
Not a very sturdy fence sometimes either.
Yeah, and I shouldn't say literally because we aren't literally on a fence right now. But
sometimes it's kind of a barbed wire fence where you just need to get off it.
Yow! Yeah, exactly. So, where's that soundbite? Damn it. Timing's everything on that one. It's not going to be funny anymore because I.
Yow!
Yeah, there. Thanks, Mike.
That was the real one.
There it is. Thank you very much. Well, it's just not fun when I can't find them. Whatever. It's too late. I give up. I'll find it randomly throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Well, let's make it good though, Mike. Let's make it
interesting. It'll be fantastic.
Fairly entertaining.
I'm entertained enough already to where we could quit and I'd be happy.
Was that a hint?
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, you were going to say before I rudely cut you off.
Oh, let's just dive right into it. When I was looking into this alleged occurrence, Mike, in all sincerity, several people compare it to, and including renowned ufologists and people who are experts in this field of study, they rank it right up there with the Betty and Barney Hill abduction, the Travis Walton abduction / experience. Mm-hmm. They say that this is right up there with them. So snickering Mike or not, there's some weight behind the story, as crazy and bizarre as it is. So
hey, I'm nobody. I'm just somebody that believes in stuff.
Except this one, right?
Oh, it's possible. It's very possible that this could have actually happened.
It is. So
in one form or the other, or embellished in another. I have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I gotcha. I gotcha on that one. So yeah, again, if you are new, it might seem like we're playing parts, but we're not. It's always Mike is definitely the one who is more apt to believe. Well, I'm not going to say everything because no, that's not true. You are
not everything.
You are a wise man, and you can't believe everything. And I'm the one who tends to be more a little like, I'm not too
wishy-washy.
A little wishy-washy. Skeptical is the proper term, even though I don't really like that term.
I think you should grow a beard like the great James Randi.
Oh, do you? Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll be as handsome as.
Or is that as far as you can grow one that you have right now?
Pretty much. Pretty much. Well, yeah. Again,
talk about Scooby-Doo or his Shaggy himself.
There he is, right there.
No.
Yeah, definitely a little shaggy. But Mike, were you familiar with this story at all before we were discussing?
I think I had briefly heard something about it or read something about it at one time. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't very familiar with it or a lot of the details.
Right. So if someone would have said, Mike, you know the story of Don Schrum, you would not have
Right.
pulled it out. Maybe
Right. When you sent me
that sounded
a
terrible.
link to it, and I just could not place it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thankful that went over your head. What I just said.
Oh, I must have missed it.
Well, because
it was so far over my head.
Yeah. No. What? Okay, I'm going to repeat it because
Okay.
I said so. Like when you hear the name Don Schrum, you don't just pull it out. And so I'm like, what the hell? Why did I mean, my dirty mind went there, so Mike wasn't exactly excited about pulling it out at the thought of Don Schrum. So I'm glad. You still don't get it.
Well, I get it that there's a hint of humor there somewhere.
A hint of humor. Did I need to say whip it out? Would that help it?
The Donald Schrum, whip it out. Got it.
Wow. Wow. Mike, do you want me to draw a picture? Will you get
Donald Schrum and Friends? Yes.
It has nothing to do with his name. It has everything to do with
it's the whole whip it out thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I think he finally got it.
I got it. Jeez.
Holy cow. Yeah.
I'm not used to you having a sense of humor.
Oh, gee. Wow. Thank you very much. I appreciate that one. I'm not used to you not having beer right now. So.
Yeah, I know. That's probably why I didn't get it.
Well, that's sad if that's true. Yeah. See, your dog in the background agrees too. She's like, "Oh, Mike." Well, in all fairness, you did. I mean, my gosh, you've been through so much, and you did say before we started recording that you're kind of out of it just because of all the crap you've been going through. So
yeah,
totally.
Yeah, there's a lot, but that's okay.
That's okay, he says. Well, all right then. Let's make it. Let's put in some effort.
Well, so what is your opinion on just, before we get into this? I mean, do you, with your skeptic mind and your fairly open mind at the same time?
Oh, very open-minded. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this story.
A lot to digest.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's out there, man. It's definitely out there. Well, I'll save my conclusion when we're done.
Yes, I thought of that after I started saying that should be saved until after. And I shall give my opinion.
See, it wouldn't be good podcasting protocol to say like, oh, we're going to share this bizarre, wacky, potentially true or fake story, and we both think it's a bunch of bullshit. But listen to it anyways. No, we're not doing that. So because we don't think it's bullshit.
If I do have reservations about it, maybe the discussion that we have will really turn things around for me if I have any reservations at all.
Hey, you know what? That's a great point because that has happened both ways for you and I.
Absolutely.
For several occurrences.
That's part of why we do things like this.
Again,
I guess, really.
That's another great point, Mike, because we have a great time hammering back and forth our thoughts and our opinions on these things. And I would say fairly often we have damn near changed our minds just recording this.
Yeah.
This podcast, this crazy podcast.
That is true.
My favorite word for tonight is obviously crazy, and I hate that. I think I've said that about 95 times already. That's crazy.
Well, switch from crazy to weird, wild thing.
Nah, I'll try not to. Feel free to interject anytime, Mike, here. I'm going to run down the basics of the story here. The alleged occurrence, as I mentioned earlier, this took place in 1964, September 4th to be exact, and involved a then 28-year-old Donald Schrum out bow hunting with a group of his friends in CISCO Grove, or at CISCO Grove in Placer County, California. Long story short, amidst all their fun out there hunting, somehow, as the story goes, Don got separated from his companions. So much so that he actually ended up, and it was nighttime before he realized that he was absolutely lost. Didn't know where his buddies were. And as the rule goes, Mike, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, if you get lost by your hunting companions or from your group out in the woods, stay put, right?
Yes. Don't become more lost.
Don't become more lost. The moment you realize that you're kind of a lost cause, no pun intended, stay put. Maybe if you can, get to an elevated area, but Yeah, just sit tight. Sit tight and people will find you. And such thing happened to Don Schrum. And when he got separated from his party, he decided that he would go sleep in a tree for safety.
Yes.
For safety as nightfall approached and overtook him and the group. Darkness is everywhere, Mike. Darkness is everywhere.
The fireflies are lighting.
Buzz. Well, I guess fireflies, do they buzz? Do they make a lot of buzzing noises? I don't know.
I just see them.
Yeah.
I don't hear them.
Right. That's exactly it. Schrum could not sleep. Peace would not last long. Whatever peace he was feeling, relaxing in the treetop at night. Because before too long, Don claimed to begin seeing a white light.
Yes.
Moving
off in the distance.
Off in the distance, moving in a zigzagging motion.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the trees at a low altitude. At first, Schrum said that he thought it was simply a helicopter. Thinking that, he jumped down from the tree and began lighting flares to attract attention, trying to get the helicopter pilot's attention, maybe thinking that his buddies had found said search helicopter and they were up there in the cockpit, I guess, however you want to call it. Is there a cockpit in a helicopter?
I don't like the word cockpit.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. Well, then, and you also don't get the phrase whip it out, apparently, either. So
Yeah.
don't whip it out in a cockpit, put it that way. Oh, God. Now, thinking that it was a helicopter, as I said, he jumped down from the tree, began lighting flares. Under the assumption that his friends had launched said rescue party. Eventually, the light turned around, started racing towards him, but came to a stop about an estimated 50 yards away from the tree that he was standing underneath. Now, as the story goes, as the alleged occurrence/incident goes, Donald described the object as landing. When it was landing, he realized that it was not a helicopter, but instead something alien. I guess that's
unintended.
I guess that's the best way you can describe it. The unidentified flying object was cigar shaped, about the size of a 14-story building. That's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it landed 50 feet away from him.
So I cannot imagine how ginormous that damn thing was. Holy Toledo. That must have been a
14-story building, the shape of a cigar.
Yeah.
Landing in the forest.
Must have been a wide open space. Wide open
sans
space.
Trees in this forest.
Absolutely. Why not? Well, I mean, I guess when it said it was landing, in the process of landing, it didn't necessarily land.
Right, because there was a smaller scout ship that came from it.
That is correct. Yes, and
yes.
all of this is according to two ufologists who appeared on Coast to Coast AM, a very popular show that Mike is very familiar with.
Oh yeah,
and
I listened to that for years.
Right. Yes, you did. And do, I should say.
Yeah.
And as Mike just said, when the larger cigar-shaped craft was descending, a smaller, I guess for lack of a better term, scout ship was expelled from the larger craft, and the smaller craft then landed nearby.
Right.
So there you go. The larger craft did not land. Of course, Schrum was terrified at this point. Mike, would you be terrified? And be honest. I mean, it might be a weird question to some listeners, but if you knew Mike, I'm sincere when I ask him if he would be afraid right now.
I'd be frighteningly intrigued.
Okay.
I'd be a little freaked out, but I'd be excited at the same time.
Okay. I know it's an impossible question to answer. You have to put yourself in that.
Unless
position.
you're really there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, Schrum, feeling very frightened at this point, climbed back up to the tree for safety. But according to other stories, he climbed up into the tree to get a better vantage point. So that's a little bit to make you think about right there, how there's different reasons and different accounts. Yeah. One account says he got up there because he was scared. Another account said he wanted to get a better view. So take that as you will. After a short period of time, according to Schrum, 3 beings, not 1, not 2, but 3 beings approached the tree. Now, these beings departed from the craft that had landed, the smaller craft that had landed. Donald described 2 of them as humanoid. Described them as being a little over 5 feet tall with a silvery uniform that covered their heads. Now, if this is alien, Mike, what's the first reason that pops into your mind why they would be wearing any sort of outfit like that, particularly something that was over their heads?
Well, because it was springtime and it was stylish.
Stylish. Okay.
Well,
I
actually,
got
it was
that. Yeah,
closer
yeah.
to fall.
Well,
Closer to fall.
Did they have bell bottoms on too?
Well, a little bit of, 1964 could have been a little bit of paisley
A
there.
little paisley. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Balloon sleeved, silver balloon sleeves. Quite a flare at the bottom.
I could see that. So, well, the first thing that pops into my mind as a generic answer is simply for like atmospheric reasons, breathing.
Absolutely, that
breathing
they are not,
apparatuses.
they are not conditioned to our atmosphere.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I said apparatuses. That's not the correct plural for apparatus, is it?
It's apparati.
Apparati? Okay.
No, I have no idea.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sincerely drawing a blank on that one.
Apparatuses.
Yeah, apparatuses didn't sound right to me, but maybe it is. Listeners, let us know which one's correct. Again, two of the creatures / beings were described as humanoids over 5 feet tall, wearing silvery uniforms that covered their heads. The coast-to-coast ufologists also described, in their description, suggested that the entities wore something similar to welding goggles.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, if you're interested, listeners, though, you can find drawings and descriptions of what supposedly was seen that night in the forest.
Yes, and that drawing is very interesting because the other being that is different than the silver suited 5 foot tall beings. The drawing looks much like the cartoon My Giant.
It does. Yeah, I see that. I see that. Yeah. And we'll get to the reasons why and shortly, but it also looks like it's smoking a cigar. It just looks like it's like casually puffing away on a cigarette, or who the hell knows what it was puffing away on.
Well, that was only after there was that smaller little being that was walking in the forest with a little tray yelling cigars, Tipperello.
That's true. I forgot.
Cigarettes.
I forgot about that part of the story. I forgot. We'll get to that though. We'll get to that. Now again, after suggesting or saying that the description suggested they were wearing something similar to welding goggles, the third being approached slightly later in the encounter and resembled a classic sci-fi robot. It's funny that you said that, Mike, about the Mighty Giant thing, but it was darker, however, in color, and get this, had 2 reddish-orange eyes. That's always kind of creepy.
The mouth is what really kind of blows me away.
Yeah. In place,
this is where it gets odd.
In place of a mouth, where the mouth would be, the robots, I'm do air quotes with robot, had a slit-like opening that would drop open like the door of an oven. Now I'm envisioning Beaker from the Muppets.
Yeah.
But Beaker, it was not, unfortunately.
Maybe a close cousin, maybe.
I will say this, that Beaker terrified me as a kid. Every time Beaker came on the screen when the Muppets were on, no, thank you. I hated Beaker. He freaked me out, man.
I was beyond the tender age of being freaked out by
I hope you were.
By the Muppets.
I really hope you were.
Yeah.
No, yeah, just the noises that he made, and yep, and Macy's all excited too. Macy's thinking about Beaker, and she's getting freaked out as well.
Animal probably.
Yeah. Now, speaking again of like what would have been the mouth when the slit opened, and it opened as if it looked like a oven door being pulled open, I guess, and that's where I went to the Beaker description.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is when shit starts getting even more strange.
Yeah.
And when Schrum basically lost it and began to panic. And if this is true, then I do not blame the poor man.
Oh, of course.
When the being's mouth opened, Schrum claims that the entities then began to shake the tree as if attempting to dislodge him from said tree. He vividly remembers that the robot-like entity would let its lower jaw drop, then reach inside the Mike's laughing right now.
I'm trying. It's just such a fantastic tale.
That's a nice way of putting it. Yes, it is. It is a fantastic tale in more ways than one.
Yes.
When the lower jaw would drop, it would then, this robot-like entity would then reach inside the rectangular gap that was revealed.
That alone right there. The rectangular gap.
It sounds like something you're diagnosed with at the doctor or something,
Or some like an old girlfriend in high school, maybe. I don't know.
Oh no. I don't know. I don't know. But when the rectangular gap was revealed, Mike, it would then emit a puff of what appeared to be smoke that went into Schrum's direction. Okay, anyways.
Green tea is getting to me. Anyway, go ahead.
Get all those sick thoughts out of your mind.
Yes,
and
they're gone.
Mike, I'm talking to our listeners right now. Get those sick thoughts that Mike planted into you out of your mind, and listen to this, listeners, with an open mind. Now, said smoke would then spread like a mist. It would surround Donald Schrum, causing him to lose consciousness. Story continues. When Schrum came back to consciousness, as he said he did, obviously he did, the beings, according to Schrum, were still trying to get him out of the tree, and Schrum began to feel nauseous. He then attempted to scare the entities away by throwing bits of lit clothing. Do you say lighted or lit, Mike? Oh,
I say bought, and I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
So don't ask me.
That's very true. Throwing bits of lit clothing or lighted, however you want to say it.
I would say litten, of course.
Litten. Oh God.
Go ahead.
Which apparently momentarily caused them to back away before continuing their assault. And Macy's getting excited again tonight. She was so good the last couple episodes. Never heard anything.
She was.
Now somehow Schrum also observed, according to him, what he thought were audio signals from the UFO.
Mm-hmm.
He thought they seemed to be influencing the behavior of the occupants or the beings below him. Now, throw all your silly thoughts aside for a second, Mike.
Yes.
We're talking alien technology here. If this is a legit story, this seems like a real possibility. I mean, we experiment with stuff like this. We're crying out loud.
Oh, sure.
Do you buy into that perhaps they are receiving messages from, I don't want to call it a mothership, from the larger craft that influences their behavior as if they are under that craft's control?
Well, absolutely. Like the robotic type being.
Yep.
Could be like a signal influencing like a control. And it could be a communication type of a thing with the actual beings.
Mike, how I just had a vision in my mind of like underwater submersibles. And okay, as longtime listeners know, ding, 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 I am a Titanic nut. And I'm envisioning the expeditions down to the Titanic where, they go down in the larger crafts manned by 2 to 4 people at most.
Bob Ballard.
Yeah, Bob Ballard, James Cameron, you name them, and
Absolutely.
they would send the remote vehicles to inside, connected to cables. They would send these remote vehicles from the larger crafts to go search inside the Titanic, in and about the Titanic. Now, are these, if real, Mike, are these some sort of like mechanical machines, I guess, for lack of a better term, that are simply being sent out from the mothership due to perhaps live beings inside the larger craft? Maybe they can't breathe the atmosphere. Maybe they don't have the capabilities at that time, or the wear, the outfits, the suits to do such things. So they send these little remote beings out there. What do you think about that possibility?
Like a probe type thing.
Right.
What I found kind of odd and kind of comical earlier when I was reading this is that back in 1964, the technology, say like with Betty and Barney Hill, the alien technology that was used with them was more familiar, more advanced than these in this story from 1964. But what I am trying to think of from there is that these are different species of alien from a different place that is not as advanced as other, like the gray aliens or whatever. So they are subject to this kind of technology. It seems cartoonish to me, but that's going by, like say the Betty and Barney Hill story where they have such a more advanced technology in what they used in getting them on the ship, and the experimentation that they did. Say this is an advanced species that is only thousands of years ahead of us instead of millions of years ahead of us.
That's an excellent point, Mike. Right when you started talking about that, the exact same thought popped in my mind too. You put it very well. It's who's to say? Who is to say? I mean, the universe is infinite, for crying out loud.
Right.
It's infinite and it's expanding. Go wrap your head around that one.
Yeah.
There's not just one species of alien.
Oh, there's so many that there's so many that you can't even put them all in one box.
No. Oh God, no. Absolutely. Now, after claiming that he observed these audio signals which appeared to control the behavior, or at least influence the behavior of these beings, Schrum finally managed to actually load and shoot an arrow at the invaders and claims to have actually hit the robot-like being. Now, according to Schrum, did I call him Bob, by the way? Did I say Bob? I don't know if I did or not. You said Bob Ballard tonight, so not.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, according to Schrum, the impact caused a spark to fly off of the creature, that indicating that it was indeed metallic. He then shot 2 more arrows at the beings, each shot causing them to scatter and to back away from the tree. Story doesn't end there, though. Schrum went on to say that even during his retaliation, fighting back, I guess, out of fear and feeling, defensive, he's in a defense mode. Let's face it.
Absolutely.
He says during his retaliation, that would give, well, how can I say this? His retaliation would give the aliens cause. Would not give the aliens cause to retreat, as I should say, as they were soon joined by a second robot.
Right.
Which once again, here we go, Mike. Once again, said slitten mouth opened, rectangular gap exposed.
Slitten, is that a word?
I said slit in mouth.
Okay.
The slit in the mouth, rectangular gap exposed. Once again, white vaporous material began to come from what appeared to be its mouth, and again it rendered Schrum unconscious. Now, when Schrum woke again, the two non-robot humanoids were climbing the tree after Schrum. Now, that would be terrifying. That would be terrifying. I'm envisioning that in my brain right now. It's like, no thanks.
Would you rather have these beings climbing up the tree after you or a bear?
A bear. 100% a bear. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. They're furry and cute. So, even if
With
they are
big, sharp, pointy teeth and claws.
even if they are killing you at the moment. He claims that when he woke, he saw the two non-robot humanoids climbing the tree, but he did manage to dislodge them by shaking the tree himself and throwing more various objects at them. How much stuff did he have up in the tree?
That's a question that I had when I was looking into this. Is that okay? So earlier he was reduced to taking shreds of clothing and lighting them and throwing them at them and matches.
Yep.
But now he has objects to throw at them.
Well, maybe he's totally nude and he's throwing his shoes.
Yeah.
Belt buckles.
Take this sock, you.
Nabbit, this sock smells. Okay. If this is real, no offense to Donald Trump, hey, help us out here. Now, he was, like I said, he was shaking the tree, throwing very extra objects at them. And these attacks continue to occur on and off throughout most of the night. But as
sleep for Schrum.
No, I could imagine. Not much. I could imagine he ran out of objects quite quickly up there in the tree. But as dawn approached, guess what? Yet more humanoids arrived on the scene. More! And a large volume of the same strange smoke made Schrum, well, you guessed it, black out once more. Now, the final time Schrum awoke, the aliens, according to his account, were finally gone, but he was hanging from the tree by his belt.
Yeah. So maybe they did get him down, but then they wanted to put him back where he was.
There you go.
And they just couldn't get him to stay. He kept falling out of the tree. So they thought, okay, let's tie him up here with his belt.
They're looking at each other like, what do we do with this guy here?
It's okay, Klaatu. Just let him hang by his belt.
Klaatu. Oh man. Klaatu Niktu Barada. Yeah, all that good stuff. Now, thankfully, Schrum was soon rescued and reunited with his pals, one of whom, by the name of Vincent Alvarez, claimed to have also encountered the same UFO that same night because he himself also became lost and separated from the hunting group. Donald, though, was the only one who was able to see these supposed otherworldly creatures. Vincent did not, but he did see the UFOs. I would like to point something out here. This is from an article. Let's see, what is it called here? This is from paranormal-world.fandom.com. And this is kind of they're throwing this out here the way I interpret it as a potential reason behind this if faked imagined story, a potential reason or a basis for it.
Okay.
That's how I interpret it. I could be totally wrong. So I'm just going to read this straight up. It says here, elves or iron giants. This case wouldn't contain anything out of the ordinary aside from the obvious if it weren't for a bizarre corroboration of the story by a book written way back in 1836. This book was called, I'm going to butcher this, Livre des Legendes, and was written by a French librarian by the name of Antoine Leroux de Lincy. This book has this to say about elves. This is a quote from the book describing elves. If a mortal being dares come near them, they open their mouth, and, struck by the breath which escapes from it, the impudent fellow dies poisoned. So they're kind of insinuating that this connection was maybe Donald was familiar with this book. So maybe he had this idea already in his head. Maybe that was added to his imagination. I don't know. The connection was pointed out by Jacques Vallée in his essential tome, Passport to Magonia. Jacques also asserted that the bizarre effects felt by Schrum are consistent with the sudden deprivation of oxygen. Now, when I read that, Mike, my first interpretation was that maybe this is a reason behind the imagined story of Donald Schrum. But are they suggesting that maybe this author, this Antoine Leroux de Lincy, perhaps he was writing about other alien encounters that other people had maybe informed him about, and they could only describe them as elves?
Sure. That happens throughout history in different cultures and tribes, and going way back in history, that they see something and they can only describe it as what their mind lets them describe it as, or how they can perceive it.
Sure. Or whatever fantasy novels they were reading at that time, you know?
Yeah.
So this is according to a description by ufologist Ruben Uriarty and Noah Torres. I'm sorry if I butchered your name there, Ruben. Uriarte. Urita? I don't know. I apologize. When they appeared on Coast to Coast and they said the case that we just went over. And they have a long description here, but I don't want to skip down to the very end of it. I want to get to this Shrum's hunting companion. Yeah. Shrum's hunting companion, Vincent Alvarez, gave a written affidavit as to seeing a bright craft. Schrum himself was initially hesitant to go public with his story because he thought it might jeopardize his career as a missile defense contractor.
Jeez.
Now that's quite a job, Mike.
Yeah.
Now that changes your perception of Donald Schrump's story a little bit, maybe. Not saying that just because you're a missile defense contractor doesn't mean you can't think of fake stories.
Yeah, even they can have an odd sense of humor.
Well, sure, I get that. At the time, Schrum did speak with the Air Force about what he saw, but they tried to downplay the incident and suggest that he was the victim of a hoax or a prank. Torres and Uriarte believe the case is comparable in significance to the Betty and Barney Hill abduction, and also draw parallels to the Travis Walton and Pascagoula UFO abductions. So these prominent ufologists buy this story, Mike. Donald Schrum was a missile defense contractor. I don't know if that changes your perception of the story at all, but there you go. What do you think, Mike? There's really not a lot more you can dive into. I think there's a book out there actually called Aliens in the Forest, because that's why I titled this podcast episode Aliens in the Forest. That would provide you with a lot more information on this case, but right now we're just giving you the bare bones of it. What do you think, Mike?
Well,
it's okay to be honest. It's okay to be honest, because that's what we do here.
Yeah. And and I'm done with the comedic play on it and everything, but it can go either way. And I would like to go with the idea of the possibility of it being less advanced alien technology. And that's why it played out the way it did, if this did actually happen. Because I think that's a very possible thing, because not every alien species is going to be as advanced as another one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with, if it is a true story, I'm going to go with that as an explanation of all the, the wacky
I gotcha.
things that went on and everything. And even so, I mean, this guy was, how many times was he put unconscious by this misty,
Yeah.
smoky, whatever. I mean, he could have been
3 times, I believe.
You know, he could have been experiencing something and just, trying to remember it and interpret it the best that he could with, the haze that he was going through.
Right. No, absolutely. It's
so, yeah.
What was causing said haze? I mean, there's any number of possible explanations behind
The
that.
rectangle gap.
I mean, Mike, a pseudo-skeptic out there, a pseudo-septic. I did it again.
There he did. Pseudo-septic skeptic.
It's meant to be, man. A pseudo-septic skeptic. Those septic skeptics out there, they would immediately dismiss this without even bothering looking into the story.
Absolutely.
Without bothering looking into the facts. So,
like they do everything.
So I'm just going to say, from a skeptical point of view, who's to say, and I'm not suggesting that he or anyone was, but there's some powerful hallucinogenic drugs out there that people might be on every now and then. It's probably not wise to be on them when you're going on a hunting trip. But and again, I am not saying that's what happened.
Right.
But it's a possible explanation. I mean, someone could have had a bad acid trip, Mike. I mean, simple as that.
After he got lost and he was cut off from the food supply that possibly was with the other guys, found some mushrooms in the forest and decided to.
There you go.
Well, they look good.
Yeah. And again, I am not saying that's what happened.
Right. Exactly.
This could very well be real. I don't know. And unfortunately, that's how I feel on a lot of topics.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to choose, I mean, this isn't One Last Take. If I had to choose, I probably would say that it was an elaborate, not a hoax. I think something happened. My gut feeling is that he did get separated. Some sort of panic set in, and who knows what happened after that. Mike, even simple panic attacks can make you think bizarre things.
I'm sure.
I'm not saying that's what happened, but if I was forced to choose, I would say I'm leaning towards it not being real, but it could be. What adds credence to this as being possibly legit is the fact that these renowned ufologists are totally buying it, Mike. They think they rank it right up there with Barney Hill abduction, for crying out loud.
And they have probably been studying it, for who knows how long, and have discovered things about it that aren't in this written story, and that
Absolutely.
from what much more than what we have covered tonight. So
by far. Like I said, this is just the bare bones of it, the bare minimum. So I mean, hey, we got a podcast to cover, and we have a minimum time to get a couple topics covered. So that's why we give you the bare bones on nights such as this. But hey, a crazy, fantastic story either way.
It is.
Mike, is it time for one last take? Do we need to do our time traveling excursion, come back for one hot last take, or what?
I am good either way, so you decide.
You're good either way. Well, Mike's drinking his tea of some sort. What is it, green tea?
It is. It's a it's an off-brand green tea citrus.
Very nice.
It tastes like
what?
Doodly squad. But but
I guess
anyway,
it's good for you, Mike. It's good for you.
It is. Antioxidants.
Well, we're coming up right exactly a little bit over 50 minutes. Let's time travel real quick, Mike. We'll wrap it up with a bang. One last take on just some little story dude known as Nostradamus.
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. So hold on, boys and girls. We shall be all right back. And we are back after yet another successful time traveling excursion. Mike, okay, it's that time. It's time for one last take.
One last take.
Yeah, I should think of something. I should find something like that. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. Make it really dramatic and silly sounding.
Yeah.
One last take.
Some kind of intro theme or something.
Yeah, we should have an intro theme. I could.
Yeah, you haven't done those for years.
No, well, not quite that long. We used to do all sorts of awesome segments as the Alternate Route podcast.
Yeah.
Weekly top 5 minutes alone. I mean, all sorts of good stuff. We could use well, I'll play you both. The Did You Know intro. Did You Know was another segment, and the other one was Weekly Top 5. So plug your ears, boys and girls, because it's going to blow your face off. That one's not too bad. This one's pretty bad. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. That'll be our new intro for one last take. All right, plug your ears again. All right, we're ready. It's time for one last take. All right, good.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old for that.
Oh, I know I'm too old for it.
I say that, though, as Bridget and I are going to Rammstein this summer in U.S. Bank Stadium, so that's going to be pretty
cool.
Awesome. Yeah, they put on such a fantastic show. I was lucky enough
to
I'm
have sure.
seen them with a friend of mine, a decade or so ago. So this will be pretty cool. Looking forward to it. U.S. Bank, so they're going to bring in the whole shebang, all their pyrotechnics.
I'm sure. And when you're done, you will not be able to hear anything. Your ears will be bleeding and your face will be melted.
Yes. And Bridget will have to carry me out of the stadium. So
yeah,
it'll be good. Looking forward to it.
Which even any young child could do. Throw you over their shoulder like a chatty Cathy or something.
yeah, come on. You got some more in you. You got some more in you. I know you
I'm
do.
done. No.
Oh, okay. Damn it.
Done.
Okay. Hey, before I forget, guys, no joke, patting ourselves on the back, we may be, but my gosh, our Patreon page is getting more and more cool. I think it is more than worth.
It is
more than worth a $1 tryout for a month. You could try.
There's something for everybody on there.
There is, man. You could try it out for as little as $1 a month,
or as high as.
Well, I'm not going to say that. There's different tiers there. Go check them out. Each tier has different goodies on it. But man, alive, man. It's been going nuts lately. I've just been posting so many old podcasts from the Alternate Route podcast. We have over 50 episodes from the archives from the Alternate Route podcast available there now. They're available nowhere else, as I'm removing all of our old Alternate Route podcast episodes. We have over 30 exclusive episodes that we have made solely for the purpose of our Patreon page, including our newest series, the debut episode of our newest series that we recorded last Wednesday, Mike. We had a blast.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm looking forward to that one, man. Our breakdown and commentary series, watching and studying and breaking down and commenting on any and all Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures episodes. We don't hold anything back. We just tell you how we truly feel about everything: cast members, plots, truth, reality, all that good stuff. It's only going to get better and better. We have a Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures episode is coming up next. Looking forward to that. Ghost hunting, our own personal ghost hunting videos, audio, EVPs that we've captured, audio anomalies on video and audio, some video captures perhaps. I posted one today that's kind of interesting. Your old TikTok thing that you posted a couple years ago, Mike. When I watched that a couple years ago, I did not see that clear as day image of a hand.
Yeah, I still have not rechecked that, but I will look at it and I'll see what that's all about. I'll look at it tonight.
I was going to say, Mike, when we're done recording, I want you to watch it.
Yes.
So, because I'm going to pull it up too. You just go right to the Patreon page and watch it. Okay, it's right. It's right there. It's the latest post. But as little as $1 a month, no obligations. If you don't like it, you can quit. But I have a feeling that you will like it. We have already over 160 exclusive posts on there, and it's going to grow by leaps and bounds. We're having a good time. Our current patrons enjoy it, and we really think you would too. If you enjoy this podcast, you'll love the Patreon page. So give it a shot, won't you?
Please.
Yeah, please. Okay, Mike, some little guy named Nostradamus.
Nostradamus.
Now, you said earlier, do you pronounce it Nostradamus, or were you joking?
Nostradamus, Nostro.
No, not nostril, Nostra. I'm not sure. I mean, it could go either way, I guess. But
yeah, depends.
Well, before we dive into our one last take on Nostradamus, your thoughts briefly, Mike, on basically people who prophesize the future. Do you think it's
Scrying
possible?
and things like that.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible? And if so, this is a loaded question. I want you to keep it brief, so it's kind of impossible. I apologize. If it's possible, where is it coming from? Your thoughts, Mike.
Well, I do believe it's possible. There's modern day prophetic people. Edgar Casey was one. The sleeping prophet.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
There's what's her name?
Nope, Mike lost it now. Do you want
Baba Vanga?
You want me to pause it until you?
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's just so many, and it comes from. God, is it a? It's a talent. It's a gift. Something in the brain that got cross-wired in one way or another. Is it something that we all have, that if it's developed or just naturally strong in a certain person, I do believe it's an actual real thing, and it deserves to be looked into.
So it's something
discussed.
It's something that perhaps all of us have the capability of, but not all of us have tapped into, basically.
Right. Like any, psychic ability,
sure.
Sensitivity or anything like that.
So would you align that with psychic ability? Would you align it with something supernatural? Would you align with it something cosmic? Would you,
cosmic. Yeah, there you go. Paranormal, supernatural, psychic. I think it all lands in the same bag. It's just different levels.
Okay. So you're definitely an open-minded. You're open-minded when it comes to this. And I am too. I absolutely
very open-minded.
I absolutely am. I mean, we all experience it in some minor capacity, probably more often than we even realize.
Sure.
I mean, how many times do we have foreboding feelings to not go that way? Don't take a right, take a left, there's going to be a deer around the corner, and hell, there is a deer right there. I mean,
things like that happen.
Yeah, we're in Minnesota, so that's why I said there might be a deer in the road.
Yeah.
I totally buy into it. Now, as far as living in the 16th century and writing down 4-line rhyming verses in your quatrains and having all them supposedly predict things that are still occurring nowadays,
or the way that it's interpreted as occurring nowadays.
That's the thing. That's the big thing, Mike. Let's face it. Nostradamus, his writings were very vague. They
yes.
They were generalized.
Mm-hmm.
They could be describing any number of things.
Right. And written in that very old world manner of
oh, sure.
I know the way the words were used in the it's not like things are written today.
It's almost as if Yoda was writing these down.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
it's like the quatrains that people believe that have predicted like World War II and Hitler and everything. Well, it doesn't say Hitler in the quatrains. It says Hister.
Right.
And that has been interpreted as meaning Hitler.
Or, but Hister was also the Latin word for the Danube River at the time.
Sure.
That was the former name for it. So that could be, who knows what he was referring to.
Yes.
And we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I'm going to read some of his shortly. But the tail of the tape here briefly, Nostradamus, as everyone more than likely knows, 16th century seer, born in France, 1503, died 1566. Nostradamus did not begin prophesying until 1547 at the tender age of 44, which in the 16th century, that was probably the equivalent of 104.
Sure.
I mean, that's old age by that time.
Mm-hmm.
He began as a physician. He did not have any degree as a physician. Also, an
all you needed to have is is a
Scalpel.
jar full of leeches and
Right.
and a fairly sharp blade.
Yes. Just
And you
a sign.
could be a physician.
A
Yep.
sign hanging from your doorknob that said physician,
Yeah.
or doc. That's all you needed.
Mm.
Come on in, boys and girls. Yeah.
A type of barber pole.
Yep. And a couple bottles of rum. That's about it.
Yeah. Or good French wine.
Or both. I think a better word, instead of vague, I should say cryptic. Cryptic's a little
There you
better
go.
than vague.
Yeah.
Now he did his published book. I'm going to, not pronounce it correctly. I'm going to butcher it. Les Prophecies. Is that how you say it? Prophecies. I can get Prophecies. It's like prophet, but then it ends in IES. Propheties. Published in 1555, 11 years before Nostradamus' death. All right. Well, let's just get right down to it, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready.
I'm going to read some of these quatrains, these quotes, and then we're going to read how they were interpreted, and then we're going to talk about it. This first one supposedly referred to the death of Henry II. This is what Nostradamus wrote. The young lion will overcome the older one. On the field of combat, in a single battle, he will pierce his eyes through a golden cage. 2 wounds made one. Then he dies a cruel death. Now, this is what happened. In the summer of 1559, King Henry II of France, the older one, lined up to joust Gabriel de Montgomery, the young lion, who was 6 years his junior. The tournament was held to celebrate the upcoming wedding of the king's daughter. In their final pass, Montgomery's lance tilted up, burst through the king's poorly secured visor, pierced his eyes through a golden cage, and splintered. Now, in the Journal of Neurosurgery here, it says, Kamala Dowling and James Goodrich write that the profusely bleeding king remained conscious and was able to walk some steps with an unsteady gait, but splinters from the lance had entered the king's eye, throat, and temple.
Ouchie.
2 wounds made one. And despite the best efforts of royal surgeons, surgeons back in 1500s, Henry II...
They put a leech on it.
Right. Just shake it off. Walk around a little bit.
Yeah. You're fine.
You're fine. Right, exactly. Throw some ice on it. Well, they didn't have ice.
Throw some ice on it. I'll put a mud pack on it. She'll be fine.
Sorry, we're not mocking this horrible death.
Oh, no.
Henry II experienced agonizing pain, seizures, and partial paralysis. Then he dies a cruel death. And he essentially died of sepsis, Mike. That's basically what happened to this poor soul. Now, that was a long passage there. Again, cryptic generalizations. Yeah, you can kind of see it. How does that one feel for you, Mike? That one as an example. How does that feel for you?
Cryptic.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
It's like, take any century and you might be able to find something that could be thrown in that box. I don't know.
Right. No, I hear you. The Great Fire of London, his quatrain goes as such. The blood of the just will commit a fault at London. Burnt through lightning of 23's the 6. The ancient lady will fall from her high place. Several of the same sect will be killed. Now, what happened after this? This quatrain is referred to the Great Fire of London, obviously. Now, in regards to the date, he writes 20 times. He wrote 23's the 6. It's been interpreted as 20 times 3 as being 60, then add 6, the 6, then you've got 66, or the year 66. The infamous 3-day blaze began September 1666. So, that's all basically, that's all the prediction right there that came from on that one.
Yeah.
You're piecing together parts here.
Yeah. Well, being that it was in 1666, I would say that it was of the devil.
I don't like that number. Yeah, I do not like that number.
My mind is too feeble to wrap around these little things. It's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, again, like he writes lightning of 23s, the 6. That's what he wrote. And so people interpret it as 20 times 3 equals 60, and then you add 6 to that, and you got 66. So,
well, I think that's stretching, though.
But they're interpreting the 6 as like plus 6 type thing. That's how I'm reading it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not even going to read the French Revolution one because that one could go any thousands of ways. Louis Pasteur. This is the quatrain. The lost thing is discovered, hidden for many centuries. Pasteur will be celebrated almost as a godlike figure. This is when the moon completes her great cycle, but by other rumors, he shall be dishonored. Now, by the way, why are these called rhyming verses? I have not heard one rhyme.
They had a different meaning back then. I don't know.
Now, what happened? It says here, according to businessinsider.com, much of the excitement surrounding this prediction is based on the fact that Pasteur is the French word for pastor, which he wrote down in this quatrain. Pastor. Louis Pasteur will be celebrated, is credited with discovering microbial decay. The lost thing is discovered, hidden for many centuries. That's basically it on that one too.
No, I don't see it. But then again, I'm not a scholarly person.
Well, here's the Hitler one. Here's the Hitler quatrain.
Okay.
This one's a little eerie. From the depths of west of Europe,
sure,
a young child will be born of poor people. He who by his tongue will seduce a great troop. His fame will increase towards the realm of the east. Beasts ferocious with hunger will cross the rivers.
Tanks.
The greater part of the battlefield will be against Hister. Into a cage of iron will the great one be drawn. When the child of Germany observes nothing. See, that one's pretty darn, like I said, that one's a little eerie to me.
Yeah.
The part about seducing, his tongue will seduce the troop. That's exactly how Hitler came to power, man.
Oh, absolutely. He was if nothing else, he was a impeccable speech, orator, whatever.
Yes. No, yeah, unfortunately, that is very true. And you mentioned it earlier today about the Hister/Hitler thing. Mm-hmm. Could he be referring to the Latin term for the Danube, or was that's what he saw, that's what he envisioned, and he was, simply a couple letters off.
Couple letters off, yes.
I don't know, Mike. That one's a little eerie for me.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki goes, this is the quatrain. Near the gates and within 2 cities, there will be scourges, the like of which was never seen. Famine with plague, people put out by steel, crying to the great immortal God for relief. This is how it was interpreted. Obviously, in August, the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That is the within 2 cities.
Mm-hmm.
The cities were, of course, devastated. Many survivors of the blast suffered from radiation poisoning. This is the crying to the greater immortal God for relief. I don't quite make that connection. Now, in the wake of the war, Japan also went through a food shortage crisis. That is the famine within plague. So those are 3 maybe connections that we can look at. Again, you can interject at any time here, Mike. I'm just
the thing about these interpretations, as these interpretations were being made, it was centuries after the writing, of course. And then was like, was there like a committee that was put together to read through these and interpret them and say, oh, this is what this could have been. Let's write this down. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I wonder when these interpretations came out, like far after the actual event that it was interpreted as.
Sure.
People looking back and going, well, that's what this could have meant. Let's put that down as
right. You said, like, was it just at one point someone noticed maybe some faint similarities, and so like you said, maybe this joint committee was put together, and they immediately they went through all of his writings, and they tried to find anything that maybe fit any occurrence that happened in history, essentially.
Right. There was a special that was aired. Oh, I think it was in the 70s, I believe. Yeah, it must have been in the 70s. That was hosted by oh my God, I hate drawing a blank. Orson Welles.
Orson Welles. Okay.
And it was about Nostradamus and Orson Welles and all of his rotundly greatness sitting there in a chair.
Mike, I prophesied that you were going to say rotund. I knew you were going to say that.
Yes, Nostro Jr. But and he was talking about the quatrains and interpretations and putting it out as just this dramatic wonderful thing. And I remember seeing an interview with Orson Welles after the fact, like years later, and he was asked about this Nostradamus special that he'd hosted.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying things. Yeah, but it was all just a bunch of bunk. He didn't believe in any of it, and it's like, yeah.
But he put it forth like he did.
Oh, like the great actor that he was,
Sure. Which makes me wonder, do you think, like, when William Shatner hosts all those paranormal programs, do you think that he buys into what he's like hosting and promoting?
It's a paycheck for him,
Oh, of course.
So he's going to make darn sure that it seems like it. I don't know. Maybe he does.
I see. That's the vibe I get from him, is that he's kind of like, he's doing it kind of tongue in cheek almost. And he's like,
sure,
I'll make it look like I'm kind of intrigued by it. And maybe it's a possibility, but in the long run, I just want to get paid.
Yeah. So. But, the great one and only Dan Aykroyd, when he had that show, he was pure passion.
Oh, yeah. He's a believer through and through. So,
yeah.
And a very well-educated and, articulate believer, by the way. He's not, a dream guest, Mike, a dream guest. So.
Absolutely. And the other night I was looking through something and I saw a film clip of him from Dr. Detroit.
Yeah, good old Dr. Detroit. Isn't that the one where he always speed walks? Or he like what? He's always like,
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen the movie and didn't pay much attention when I did watch it. I think I don't know.
I think like the entire opening sequence when they're showing the credits is just him like speed walking throughout Detroit or something. I think so. I don't remember. All right, a couple more here, Mike.
Yes.
Quickly. This is the quatrain. The great man. Oh, this is referring to the assassinations of both John F. Kennedy and his brother Bobby.
Okay.
His quatrain reads as such. The great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt. An evil deed foretold by the bearer of a petition. According to the prediction, another falls at nighttime. Conflict at Reims, London, and a pestilence in Tuscany. See, I finally found a rhyme there, by the way. I think I did, but not quite. Now, what actually happened?
It was by accident.
As we all know, John Kennedy was tragically shot down, the great man. He received numerous death threats, the petition, over the course of his presidency. While visiting Dallas on November 22nd, 1963, the president was obviously assassinated. Thunderbolt. And his brother Bobby Kennedy was later assassinated just after midnight, 1968. Another falls at nighttime. Now, maybe Again,
Maybe.
cryptic, vague, generalized. We get it. This one, Mike, supposedly predicts 9/11. The quatrain reads, earth-shaking fire from the center of the earth will cause tremors around the new city. 2 great rocks will war for a long time. Then I can't say this word, Aruthaza will redden a new river. As we all know, tragedy struck September 11th. The 2 towers, the 2 great rocks of the World Trade Center in New York City, the new city, collapsed. And we all know why it collapsed. And that's pretty much what connects that one. But
yeah, but then again, if you fold a dollar bill a certain way, it predicts the
sure, I know, Mike.
the falling of the 2 great rocks.
Now, I have a feeling that we both will have the same take for a one last take, but I'll let you go first, Mike, and let us know why, and tell us anything that comes to your mind about this. Do you feel that it could be before you give your final take? But take it away, Mike.
Well, I think that the people of the Americas, if they had maps, and they don't all have maps. Oh no, that's something different. I'm sure there are some people out there who know what I'm referring to. But anyway, I think, okay, so we know for sure that there was a Nostradamus.
Of course.
Back in that centuries ago, and he did do these things, this scrying, this prophesying, and wrote these wonderful things.
None of them rhymed.
And none of them rhymed unless by accident.
I'm sure they did, but those examples, I didn't see one. But go ahead.
Yeah, but so it comes from a solid base of, yes, these predictions were made, and over such a long period of time, interpretation here and there, and it's like interpretation go in any different direction, like we have discussed, and we know that can happen. I believe that what he did predicted something, but we just aren't sure exactly what it is, even with the quatrains that have been interpreted by whoever, whenever. Some of them might be correct. Some of them might be way off. Most of them might be way off. And if Nostradamus were to hear these interpretations, if he were here today, he might laugh himself and say that that it's nothing what I was saying, or whatever, or what he meant. But for so many years, it's been such an iconic thing that, Nostradamus has been, well, as far as I've been, going back as far as I can remember as a little kid, knowing about Nostradamus and these interpretations and the quatrains, and how many generations does it go back. It's such an iconic thing that we're always going to want to believe that this is something to it. We just can't say.
Is there
definitively?
Is there a possibility, Mike, in your mind, that, let's say, absolutely none of these have come to fruition? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that all of our interpretations are wrong, as far as like when we're trying in vain almost, or trying our damnedest to connect them. Let's say we're wrong in doing that. But, and this is a big but, who's to say that what he wrote down has yet to happen?
Exactly. That's a very good point.
It could
there might be an actual history.
Yeah.
It just hasn't. Yeah.
There could be future events that line up perfectly with what he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, who's to say?
Yeah.
I can't.
But
what would you say?
It's always going to be an iconic thing that whether just the mystery of it keeps it going and keeps us intrigued, and and thinking about it, that's okay too.
Well, Mike, I hate to put you on the spot, but that's what we do on One Last Take. We put each other on the spot. We
Right.
have to make a decision here. No more ranking 1 through 10 on a scale of 1 being bogus, 10 being legit. We can't do that anymore.
Right.
We did
Just
that for the
a yay or
first.
nay.
We did that for all of them up until a couple episodes ago. So we have to do yay
Mhm.
or nay, Mike. You're forced to choose. Nostradamus being a legit seer of the future, a legit prophesizer, a legit prophet. What say you?
I say that yes, he is a legit seer. It's just the whole question isn't with him; it's with what we have interpreted these quatrains as.
Okay, I'm surprised by that. I thought you would say go the other way on that one. Honestly, I would, or honestly, I did. I should say. Interesting. Damn it! Now I'm going to be the bad guy again, Mike. You always
That's okay.
make me the bad guy. No, I'm kidding. You don't make me the bad guy at all. Again, like I said though, who's to say that he isn't legit? I can't say that. Who's to say he wasn't legit? I can't say. Who's to say that what he wrote down in all of his quatrains has yet to come to existence simply because it has yet to come to existence?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that Nostradamus was a very wise, intelligent man. Very, very wise. Very gifted. I think he knew that history repeats itself. I think we're talking mid 16th century here, but he was a historian himself. He was aware of the recurrences of life, how things just happen. Things recycle themselves. Things happen and repeat themselves. Very talented at writing brilliant quatrains, brilliant phrases, brilliant verses that could be interpreted any number of ways. And I think he was aware of that. I think he knew that. I'm not saying that he didn't have visions. Perhaps was he being purposefully vague in an egomaniacal way, Mike, so he could never thoroughly be proven wrong?
Well, that's a good point.
Again, could he be legit? Absolutely. Is he? I don't know, but I'm forced to choose. Yeah, I have to say, wah, no to the Stradamus.
Yeah.
But I have to. But I'm not saying he isn't. But I have to choose, and I'm choosing no.
Okay.
Fair enough, right?
Yeah. Well, if you could only go back in time with Bill and Ted and actually talk to the guy.
Right. I
know.
Well, I got
and and then at the same time, hook up with Socrates. I mean,
good old Socrates. Yeah. and Plato and all those good guys.
and yeah, that's right.
That reminds me of a humorous line on the newest Bill and Ted, which it actually wasn't that terrible.
I need to see that.
It wasn't.
Just for the fact that I'm such a Keanu Reeves fan. I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan.
It was fun. And I'm not someone who actually even thoroughly enjoyed the original ones as far as I remember. But Bridget was a giant fan. We sat down, we watched it with the kids, and we had a good time watching this new one. This was cutscene forever ago. And a line that made me giggle. I don't remember the character's name, but a young lady, she finally met the older Bill and Ted, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" She's talking to Keanu Reeves right now. She's like, "Oh my God, I finally get to meet the Bill and Ted." And Keanu just goes, "You must be so disappointed." That made me laugh.
Yeah.
That's just how he said it. He's like, "Oh, sorry. You must be disappointed." So it's like, yeah, we got you. We got you, Keanu. We got you.
Yeah, I gotta watch. I gotta see it.
Well, Mike, hour and a half almost, man. Good job, buddy.
Really?
Yeah. This has been good.
My back held up.
Your back held up. I think this was fairly entertaining. I only have to edit out about 10 minutes or so of this episode, so we'll be closer to an hour and 20 minutes when I'm done.
Sure.
Done.
Oh yeah, you got a few.
A
bit.
few flubs.
Yeah.
Few things that Mike shouldn't have said.
Too bad you can't save those and then have them on an exclusive outtakes episode of on Patreon.
That's a good idea.
That'd be fun.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to, because I can do that. I will.
Well, that should be done.
I'll save them. I'll save certain segments, and then I'll not immediately. I want to.
It'll be worked on for a while.
I'll work on it for a while. Then I'll post like a half hour to 45-minute outtakes episode.
Yeah, if there's something that cannot be said on an episode of
It'll be on Patreon.
Podcast.
It'll be on Patreon.
If it's that bad that it has to be taken off, when we've pushed it pretty far.
Lord. And some of our old alternate realm podcast episodes. Oh my Lord.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Man. Those just needed to be burned.
Those Nonsensicast radio episodes. Woo. Nelly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, I just posted 9 Nonsensicast radio episodes within the last week. I think 6 of them were when we were the Alternate Realm podcast and we did Nonsensecast Radio throwbacks, but that means that they were so fun and crazy and wild. But I do have 3 or 4 original Nonsensecast radios. We're talking going back to the early teens, early 20s as far as numbered episodes going. And I apologize for the quality, but they are forever archived on our Patreon page.
Yeah.
We're going back as far as 2013, boys and girls.
That's crazy.
Those archived episodes. They're fun to listen to. They make me cringe, but they're fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I highly recommend them to you, Mike. Go check them out.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend our Patreon page to everybody. I guarantee you guys will enjoy it. Mike, thank you so much, my friend. This has been a blast.
Absolutely.
I hope you have a great night. Until next time, my friend, what do our awesome listeners need to do?
Peace out.